Thank you so much, sir. Very proud to be here for the first time in my life on a national conference. So thanks, Dr. Banshi sir, a lot and RSSDI to recognize my work. And thanks a lot to chairpersons who are all my friends and my seniors and my colleagues. So in next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about importance of electronic medical records in diabetes clinics. So I will make it very interactive, and I'm trying to put more of the practical data which are going to be useful in day-to-day practice rather than just going for the definitions and all those in detail. So I'm going to skip it so that the talk will be useful for the day-to-day routine practice. And I'm very sure that at the end of the talk, I'll be able to convince all the audience who are there with us or on the online across the nation would be convinced that electronic medical records and using the software should be and must be part of your day-to-day practice. So I don't have any financial disclosure for this talk. And these are the agendas from which I will be going through, but initial parts I'll be going fast because already previous speakers have covered in the best possible ways. So we all know that there are hazards associated with the handwritten prescriptions. A lot of things they worsen when we grow from our medical life to the doctors as we go in senior. The handwriting also start worsening. So there are definite lot of drawbacks like medication errors and generic names are missing, the language errors, the fine record issues, the fine data issues. Reading the data are issue, they are not legible, research is not possible, and they are very passive data, you can't do anything with that. In fact, the prescription from the doctors were so poor that government of India, in fact, the court had to prescribe doctors that this is not the way you deal with your patients. And you will have to improve in your aspects of prescribing medications. Hence, there was a famous case which happened in Andhra Pradesh, and everybody is aware of 2016, that the High Court, a two-judge bench, had to order that MCI will have to go for a review of prescribing information. Hence, the information came out as the comprehensive prescription should include a doctor's full name, qualification, patient's details, generic medication name, drug name should be in the capital letters, name and address of the pharmacist, as well as doctor's signature. So I don't think so. In a busy practice, if you see 20, 30, 40, 50 patients or 100 patients per day, it's possible for you to write down in capital in legible way. I know that previous speakers have gone through that technologies have improved from the past. The previous speaker also discussed about the Elon Musk, the person who has been reading a lot of books, but nobody would be aware of if you have gone through his lifestyle, that when he was a kid, he had some issues and he was beaten up by his school friends, right? And he made friends in the books. And what books taught him that the way the 50 years back when he was there, the world technology was not at the optimum, and he improved a lot, and we see a lot of things improving, as the previous speaker said. The 2020, the pandemic, as Lancet Journal also said, that has teach us a huge lesson. It has awakened the humanity to say that the human health and the interdependence of the human ecosystem, economy, and humanity. We know that what India has contributed to the world as far as the medication supply was concerned and as far as the vaccine chain is going to happen. So we need to understand that EMR is a need of our. We have to decide that do we want to have a handwritten prescription without analyzable Y, or we need to have this kind of prescription, which I'm going to go every day in and out for my patients. So I'm not going into the detail of the definition because previous speakers have gone, but please remember that electronic medical record is just nothing but an electrical or digital collection of the medical information, whatever you collect the data from your patient and put on a computer for the outcome. Please don't get confused with the EHR. EHR is electronic health records. So if you want to differentiate between EMR and EHR, EMR is for the individual doctor, EHR for group of doctors for one patient. So one patient information with one doctor is EMR, one patient's all information with different doctors is EHR. So these are the ways by which the computer algorithms are created and the information in whatever the way are incorporated into the structured way and analyzable data are created. Please remember, garbage in, garbage out. Don't put the data the way you cannot retrieve it while you use the EMR. EMR have been gone through a lot of since 60s. So stage 0 is where nobody is using the EMR in a country, and stage 7 is everything is on the record and everything. The security, cyber security is also ensured. Various EMR softwares are available across the world, and in India there are different types like cloud-based or Mac-based or the Windows-based. But DocTalk and HealthPlex and Practo, DocPlex, Visual InfoSoft, lot of softwares are available in India also, and I'm not going to here promote any of the software. I'm just going to put up my own data, how it helped me to improve my clinical practice. I won't go into the details of the history, what happened in USA, but please remember, USA in 2020, perhaps we can call as a country which has contributed as a mother of innovations. In 60s and 70s, when India was not about to thought of these, they created that we should have a computerized data. Please remember the Microsoft or the Apple came into the picture after in 70s and 80s, and before that they started, like Lockheed Corporation 1971 started to think that computerized data is required. By 2004, the national-wise recognition was there. In 2009, USA implemented what they wanted to do. In India, unfortunately, only 1.15% of the GDP is being used for IT infrastructure in health. India ranked very low in health expenditure as far as the IT was concerned. So we stand nowhere in the world statistics. New Zealand is 100% a country, England 99% who are using the EMRs, but India is lacking. But we should not get disappointed, because what is predicted for the Indian medical record market is likely to rise from 2019 to 26 from $200 million to $340 billion. So it is likely to have a 6.67% growth. So Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Niti Aayog all are doing that level based to improve the policies. Now, there was a question that should we go for paper therapy or should we go for only electronic health record? So there are evidences. I won't go into the detail, but Rendell et al. In NEJM, the Diabetes Care 2002, everywhere there are support evidences available to prove that electronic health records are better health records rather than what conventionally we had been using. There are evidences for EMR, error reduction is there. There was a very well-known study by Daniel et al. Who said that using the EMR algorithms where the urine albumin creatinine ratio was on higher side, doctors used to miss. But when they were shown this algorithm and EMRs were implemented from 2016 to 17, the outcome improved and error reduced from 67, 81 to 75% number of doctors prescribe ACE inhibitors or ARBs to their patients. Cost analysis, a lot of people, they argue that they are very costly, so hence I'm going to have a handwritten paper only and I'm not going to use EMR or any medical software in my clinic. But yes, the solution is there. There is an evidence that initial increased cost doesn't mean that the cost is going to be high for lifelong. ADA also has recommended that implementing electronic health record should be implemented as a strategy of daily routine. Medical Council of India also have recommended that efforts shall be made to computerize medical records. There are lots of benefits of EMR, like you can ensure the better records, you can store it easily, electronic format, you can have analysis, you can track the record, you can give summary of report, you can help improve the accuracy, it can be transferred, data can be transferred, it can be updated, you can keep a backup of them, you can facilitate the improve, and you can use for research purpose also. Yes, there are a lot of drawbacks, but I believe that instead of high cost or software or hardware malfunction or internet connectivity, and some speakers said that there are issues of paper printing, but believe me that whatever the health hazards or any issues associated with the electronic medical record, using them is more beneficial rather than having some headaches. So does it have help in my clinic for diabetes management or not? Yes, it's a chronic disease and each activity creates one information and has to be recorded, and EMR is the only thing which can record it very easily. So it can create a list for patients, it can create reminders for the patients, it can connect better. Patient record data cards can also be created. You can monitor the trends in diabetes and manage the prescriptions as well. So it is not only what I'm saying, there are papers which are published in Journal of Diabetes Science and Technology 2015, which says that electronic medical records have evolutionized the diabetes care the way we see it, and tomorrow is the future which we see is only on EMR basis. A narrative review says that there are two enabled tools which can help us for management of diabetic patients better. One is a diabetic registry and second is clinical decision support by artificial intelligence itself. So diabetes registry is nothing but a long data set which all our patients can be compiled on one monitor, so that you can on a large scale extract and summarize the data. You can ask patient to get adherence to the therapy. You can have a better coordination among your staff and patients, and you can have an advanced care delivery with less time. Clinical decision supports tools are also available with it, which says that CDS tool provides reminders for the routine lab testing, alerts for potential drug-drug interactions, and recommendations for the specific medication if you are missing them. So this is the pyramid of how the EMR and innovation for diabetic healthcare can benefit. Peer navigators, secure electronic messages, EMR-supported self-management, and personal health records can be created. So analysis and research is possible only when you are using EMRs, otherwise on a paper record. I don't think so it's possible to have a large scale of data. So it's like a genie, which the data which you feed, and it will ask you what information do you want from myself, my master. The future is very bright for India. Current use of 5% is likely to rise to 78%. These are the official data by the Philips Future Health Index. So Indian doctors are more and more recognizing it, and Indian doctors are using more and more softwares. Kerala is one of the leading states, an example which have created digitalized health record, and nearly 86 different governments are also using it. Health ID has been launched by Government of India, and technologies like HealthPlex, Practo, DocPlex, and many more companies are available. They are pouring thousands of dollars to create the softwares for the EMR. We all know that Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission is one of the basic of this current government for the new India, that every patient must have their health records. And government has also planned for the future. Now I'm just going in next 10 minutes of my talk, which is remaining, is for my own clinical experience with EMR, which I'm using at my clinic. So initially, when I inaugurated my clinic in 2011, so almost 10 years of my practice now, I used to have a different software. Fortunately, I could transfer all the data back to what I'm using. So 2017-18 onwards, I've been using this software. Again, I'm quoting that I'm not marketing this software. This is just the real life data I want to put as an example, so that the Indian doctors can choose whatever software they believe in. But data can create a lot magic, and it can create you a lot help in your day-to-day practice. And I'm sure, looking to the following data, you will be inspired if you are not using the clinical software. If at all you are using the software, you can know more and more about the data analysis, the way you can do it. So already, I'm not alone. More than 6,000 doctors across the India are using this software. 370 cities and 16 specialties are using it. It supports nearly 14 languages. So this is how a prescription is generated for my patient. 10,077 patients data I am giving in front of you, for which I have worked hard for 10 years in my clinic. Nearly 40,898 prescriptions have been generated for these patients. These data I am able to give you only because I am using every entry digitally. The consultation trends you can observe very carefully. And if you see this red part, the two spikes which you see in my consultation from 2011 to 2021, the one spike, the first small spike of consultation is November 2020, the first pandemic. The second wave was in April 2021. And you can easily see what trends. What is a useful take-home message from this? If you are using EMR and your patients are registered properly, you know what could be the time where you should not be on leave. You know what is the time where you should plan for your vacation. You know what should be the plan where you can go for the different kind of camps and everything. So these information clinician can get from what their data they are collected. If time permits, I can go through a small video which I have done from my own software for the analysis, which you see. This is how the software looks, and you can have the entry, appointments, and everything. This is how the data they look. These are my own data, which you see right now. And if I am allowed, I can go a little bit fast forward to go for that. There is a Robin named of artificial intelligence inside it, and this is how the data are stored. So if you go through it, you can mesmerize that how data can be retrieved. So data range can be selected from what day to what day. And once you have selected the date, you can see the sex-wise and age-wise ratio, repeated visit, appointments given daily, and everything can be given on one click. Data analysis for various trends, that if you want to see that how many male and female are coming, you can have a summary of top of pharmaceuticals, which company you are prescribing, which drug you are prescribing, where is the error. You can have the checklist of what patients are coming to you in follow-up, what patients are not coming up to you for the follow-up. So that is how these EMR softwares are helpful. So I'm again going back to the real life examples. I have 7 minutes left, and I'm hopeful that I'll be completing it. But the message is very clear that how in a real life softwares or EMRs are useful in diabetes clinic. So a few months ago, my pharmacist asked me that I'm out of the stock post-COVID, and I need to know, doctor, what is your trend? What is your choice of drug which you are prescribing? I need to order them. Right? I'm hopeful that anybody would disagree that if I have been using a paper prescription, I would have been able to answer. So this is that time of screenshot which I have preserved for this presentation. That this is the screenshot I immediately gave him, that this is my prescription pattern of last 6 months. You order accordingly. And believe me, it saves a lot of time and lot of energy. Now, in the pandemic, a lot of doctors, as I also consulted patients on telemedicine, a lot of doctors, they quitted out of frustration that I cannot write down everything and I cannot forward it. With the help of just 4 team members and myself, I had a fractured leg and I could still consult 1,546 COVID patients on my own shoulder. I was consulting nearly 40 to 60 patients per day on video call and software, thanks to the software which I have been using it. And I'm again quoting that this is number of patients and not number of consultations and prescriptions. So it could be 4 times what I've done in 2 months of pandemic. I have out of 10,000, 2,350 free diabetic patients. So you can see clearly the data I have abstracted from my own software. 33 patients have metformin dyspepsia. You can analyze that what amount of patients of your on metformin get dyspepsia. 28 patients, they have nephropathy, 139 patients have neuropathy, and 34 patients have retinopathy. I will come to this talk again when I come, that I have come to conclusion somewhere that something is wrong in my diagnosis of my patients. I'm missing a lot of patients who have subclinical of this issue, which ignited my mind, and I initiated Diabetes Club. I will come to that next part. I have 1,357 HbA1c data on board. I have 1,610 patients of essential hypertension, 1,043 patients of hypothyroid, 1,238 dyslipidemia patients. So all these reports can be created via magic? No, it's very easy. You have data with you. You can just click on the prescription report or the vendor's report, the app report, the consultation report, the all reports, the email report, the referred report. Everything is available on one click. If you are away from your clinic, you can have a simple selection of the algorithm message, and you can just on a one click forward to your thousands of patients that these days you are not available. It actually helps in a clinical practice. If you observe the HbA1c, fasting, PPBS, and LDL trends, this is one of the very important scenario which I'm putting. These helps a patient to give you a lot of confidence. If you see the first part, the fasting sugar of this patient was 165. When it came to the third visit, it was 111. The HbA1c initially was 7.8. I brought it down to 7. And the LDL cholesterol was 200 on first visit, and it reduced on third visit to 54. So once you show these kind of data to a patient will be extremely happy. Yes, doctor, I forgot my old papers. My file is not there. You have retried all my data. Not only that, you have retried all my investigations, and you can show me the trend also that I'm improving. So these will improve the treatment adherence also. There are special alert drugs like SGLT2. When we prescribe, you know that you have to take at least 2 to 3 minutes to explain your patients that these drugs could have side effects. So I have a pre-formed template on advice that when I prescribe SGLT2, automatically the advice comes out. So even if I forget, the computer remembers what is happening. This is very, very important. Please remember, forgetting these can be a crime, and you could be behind the bars, or medical legal aspects can harass you very tremendously. You should never forget to register patients who are allergic to what drug. So this is an example of one of my patients. She has multiple allergies like ticagrelor. She had euglycemic ketoacidosis with the SGLT2. She had severe dyspepsia with the metformin. So very limited drugs I could use. But yes, she's doing well with HbA1c of 6.5 today without any kind of side effects once she was with me. Multiple language options are there. I have patients from Bangalore. I have patients from any part of the country, and you can give them, even though I don't understand their language, I can give them prescription the way they want. This is also one of the interesting case I will go through in the last 3 minutes. HbA1c trend, hypos were there. This is an elderly female, around 50, 60-year-old. She had an osteoarthritis. She went to an orthopedic surgeon. She was prescribed multiple NSAIDs. With that, she had developed acute renal failure, and she had multiple hypoglycemia. She came up with a lot of confusion. Then family people have that she is very, very, angry, and she eats a lot. She eats like anything, Dr. and she has
Kunal
multiple.
Jhaveri, kindly, time is out. Yeah.
Okay, I will just complete in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so ultimately I reduced I diagnosed with this trend that this patient had hypoglycemia because of the ERF. I removed all the NSAIDs. I reduced the dose of sulfonylurea, and you can see that gradually she improved. This is 2 weeks old patient that type 1 diabetes with jaundice. So despite I reduced the dose, when I applied CGM, I realized that she still have hypoglycemia, even though it has never crossed below 70. So my take-home message would be, we must include EMR in our clinical practice, as it has a lot of advantage in diabetes management. Try suitable software when you have free time in your year. Training of doctor by workshop is really needed. If you're already using, please go to every corner of your software, enter the data the way you can retrieve, do your own clinical analysis, and I'm very, very confident that meaningful use of EMR can help a lot of in future outcome. So using EMR is like a riding horse. New rider is afraid of, learner falls many times, and experience enjoys, and ride that remains ahead of all the time. So this is what the initiative which I took. I could take it because of the EMRs only. I recognize that a lot of patients are missing on retinopathy, nephropathy, and all these things I created a club which is known as Dr. Kunal's Diabetes Club, where all the patients every monthly they are free to come and get their health records done free of cost to some patients, and as per their pursues they are using and paying. But this club is running successfully for more than 2 years, and a lot of lives are changed. Thank you so much for your patience in hearing. And